I remember lying there, eyes wide open, listening to his breath slow, feeling the weight of a man I suddenly didn't recognize. You would go to work and watch somebody eat their yogurt, and that they had no idea that your life was falling apart. Imagine finding out that the person that you loved the most was living a double life, that they could come home and kiss you goodnight having just kissed somebody else an hour before, that the gut feeling that you had wasn't anxiety, it was actually evidence. People don't always talk about the pain that they experience, but this is what we do here. And we have heartbreaking letters on betrayal. Some are going to make you sad, others will probably make you a little bit mad, but hopefully they'll all make you feel a little bit more seen. So before we get into our first letter, if you've ever been cheated on or had to rebuild your life from the ground up before, these are for you. And as always, if you do have any support or advice for those that have sent the letters in, please do so by popping it in the comments below. I'm sure they would love to hear it, as would I. So let's get into our first letter. This letter is titled The Year I Didn't Know, and it's been sent in by Sarah. Dear Jodie, I've written this letter more times than I can count. I'd start with, I'm okay now, or it's all behind me, but I don't think either is true. I think really what I want to say is, here's what happened, tell me if it meant something. I met Thomas when I was 29. I wasn't looking for anyone. In fact, I'd just come out of a messy 2-year thing with a guy who never really understood me. Thomas felt different. From day one, he had this quiet way of listening, not performative listening, I mean really taking you in. The kind of man who remembered that I hated parsley, who brought my mum her favourite tea before he'd ever met her. It felt safe and solid. We moved in after a year. My friends told me I seemed calmer, less on edge. It's funny how you don't notice how tightly wound you were until you meet the person who makes you feel yourself. The first time I got suspicious wasn't even because of anything dramatic. It was little things. A notification on his phone that made him lock the screen too fast, the way he flinched when I walked into the room while he was texting, his sudden need to work late, and the way he was oddly defensive about it even when I wasn't accusing him of anything. I ignored it. I convinced myself I was being crazy. I'd been cheated on before, and I didn't want to become that girl again. The one who snoops, the one who assumes the worst, so I swallowed it again and again. He started picking fights around 1.5 years into our relationship, over nothing. One time it was about me using his razor, another, I left the fridge open too long. They always ended the same way. Him storming off for a drive, and me crying in the shower thinking, what did I do? It got worse after I got promoted at work. That was the part I wasn't ready for, the resentment. At first, it was jokes. Look at the big boss now, but then it became colder, sharper. He'd make comments like, don't forget where you came from, or you've changed since you started managing people. Still, I stayed. I told myself we were going through a rough patch. I even started planning a surprise weekend away, just the two of us. I wanted to remind us who we were. I found out on a Thursday. He left his laptop open. I wasn't snooping. I swear I wasn't. I was just trying to print something, but the message thread was there, front and center. A woman named Eliza. Subject line read, last night was everything. My stomach went cold. Not in a dramatic, cinematic way. More like my body just quietly exited the room. I clicked. The messages were intimate. Not just sexual, though there was that, but soft, familiar. She knew his schedule. She knew about me. She called me the girlfriend, like I was an inconvenient footnote in her fairy tale. And the worst part, he talked to her like I used to dream he would talk to me again, with curiosity, with charm, with that quiet gentleness that I hadn't felt in months. I didn't confront it right away. I sat at the desk for a full hour staring at the messages, reading them again and again. I kept waiting to find something that would make it not what I knew it was, some explanation, some glitch in the universe that made this not real. I went to bed before him that night and pretended to be asleep when he crawled in. I remember lying there, eyes wide open, listening to his breath slow, feeling the weight of a man I suddenly didn't recognize. The man who used to trace circles on my back until I fell asleep. The man who now touched somebody else like that. The next morning, I said nothing. I got dressed, I went to work, I held a meeting, I smiled at colleagues' jokes, I signed an invoice. I watched the woman across from me eat a yogurt and thought, you have no idea I'm falling apart right now. And it took me 4 days to say something. I waited until Sunday morning. I don't know why. Maybe I wanted the quiet. Maybe I needed it to be sunny. Maybe I just needed one more night to pretend I still had a home. He was making coffee. I said his name, and he looked up like nothing was wrong. And I said, as calmly as I could, I saw the messages I know about Eliza. He froze. Then, like it was nothing, like he was explaining why he forgot to pick up milk, he said, "It's not what you think." I laughed. I laughed so hard I scared myself. I think part of me hoped that if I laughed hard enough, none of this would be real, but it was. What followed was every cliche you've ever heard. He said it was complicated, that it just happened, that he didn't mean for it to go that far, and he still loved me. And I listened. God help me, I listened, like I owed him the space to explain the hole he'd ripped open in my life. He cried, I didn't. Then he said the thing that broke me. He said, if I wanted to leave you, I would have. I'm still here, aren't I? Still here. Like staying in my apartment, in the bed we shared, in the life that we built, after betraying it was some kind of proof of love. I didn't throw anything, I didn't scream. I just said, you don't get points for staying. He moved out 2 days later. I let him pack in silence. I didn't help. I sat on the floor in the hallway and watched him zip up the bag he used on our weekend trips. I thought, that bag has seen so many good versions of us. The weeks after were strange. People asked, are you okay? And I always said, yeah, just figuring things out. But I wasn't okay. I was grieving somebody who was still alive. Grieving a future I thought we were building, grieving the version of myself who trusted him, who bought new sheets for us, who believed that love could be enough if you worked hard enough at it. And it's been a year now. He reached out once, a short message on my birthday. Thinking of you, I hope you're doing well. I didn't respond. I stared at it for a while and then I deleted it. Not because I hated him, but because I knew I'd never get what I wanted. Not really. Not the apology that understood how deep the damage went. Not the time back, not the woman I was before. I'm writing this now because I want to believe that telling the story matters. That saying it out loud gives other people like me the strength to keep going. It makes it real in a different type of way. I don't want it to just be something awful that happened. I want it to be something I lived through, something I climbed out of. I'm still trying to work through how he hurt me like that, but I'm getting there. Love, Sarah. It does matter that you're here and that you've been brave enough to share this, because I can't imagine it was easy to write any of this down on paper. It definitely wasn't very easy for me to read. I'm so sorry that you had to go through anything like this. As simple as it is, I just wish that people would tell their other halves before things get so bad, because nobody needs to go through the pain that is not being chosen over somebody else. the part that really got to me was how you spoke about you would go to work and watch somebody eat their yogurt, and that they had no idea that your life was falling apart, that we're just expected to wake up, live a normal life, and pretend that we're not in utter pain and despair. Really, thank you for sharing that story. Let's get on to letter 2. Letter 2 is titled The Woman in the Picture, and it's been sent in by Laura. Dear Jodie, I don't think I've ever really told this story, not all the way through, not even to my sister, not even to myself if I'm being honest. I've lived with this pain for so long that speaking it out loud almost feels like betrayal, but I need to let it out now before it becomes the only thing I remember. I was married to Daniel for 13 years. He was my first real love. I don't mean high school love. I mean the kind that makes you believe in home. I met him at a mutual friend's dinner party when I was 26. He was polite, handsome, quiet, and charming. He didn't talk over anybody. He didn't check his phone. He offered to walk me in the rain, no umbrella, just his jacket over both of our heads. We moved fast, not recklessly, but with the kind of old school certainty people envy now. The kind where nobody asks, "Are you sure?" because it felt so obvious that we were. He made me laugh, he kissed my forehead, and we were great. I thought that would be enough, and for a long time it was. We built a life, slowly, carefully. We had Sunday routines and inside jokes and matching toothbrushes. We hosted game nights, we rescued a dog, we even went through a miscarriage together. He held me in a hospital bathroom while I sobbed so hard I couldn't breathe. And he whispered, "We'll try again when you're ready. I love you. I'm not going anywhere." I believed him. Looking back now, I don't know when the shift started. There wasn't one big moment, just a series of tiny withdrawals. He got quieter, less affectionate. I assumed he was tired, work had been stressful, his mother was sick. I told myself we all go through seasons. I told myself this was what long-term love looked like. Not fireworks, but embers. I was willing to keep the fire going on my own for a while. What I didn't know is that he had already stopped trying. One day, I went to grab his jacket from the back of his car. It was raining and I was freezing, and I thought he'll appreciate this later, but I remembered. The jacket was in the back seat, and when I picked it up, a folded photo slipped out of the pocket. It wasn't a photo of us. It was him, sitting across a table from a woman I didn't recognize. She had her hand on his cheek. He was smiling, that real kind of smile he hadn't given me in months, maybe longer. There was a bottle of wine between them, candles lit, no wedding ring on his hand. It felt like walking into a version of my life that didn't include me. I didn't cry right away. I just stood there in the driveway, rain dripping down my back, staring at that photo like it would change if I looked at it long enough. I confronted him that night. He didn't lie. He didn't fight. He sat down, folded his hands, and said, "I never meant for you to find out." That sentence still echoes sometimes. Not, "I never meant to hurt you." Not, "It's over." Just, "I never meant for you to know." And that told me everything I needed. He'd been seeing her for nearly a year. They'd at work. It started, he said, when we stopped connecting. When life got too routine, when I started sleeping early and stopped wearing lipstick, and talked about IVF too much. As if any of that made it make any sense. He said he still loved me, that I was home, but she was freedom. I packed a bag the next morning. I didn't scream. I didn't throw anything. I didn't even say goodbye to the dog. because I couldn't look at her without thinking of the nights I stayed late at work so he could rest. And he used those hours to build a life with somebody else. People ask me if I miss him, and the answer is complicated. I miss the version of him I married. I miss the sound of his keys in the door when I didn't know yet. I miss the comfort of believing I was loved without question. But I don't miss the lie. I don't miss feeling invisible in my own marriage. And I don't miss the way I used to shrink myself, how I tried to fix us by being smaller, quieter, easier. Like maybe if I just stayed feminine enough, he wouldn't want to leave. It's been almost 3 years now. I'm not dating, I'm not rushing to heal. I'm just slowly trying to not live in so much pain. I honestly believed I was stronger than this and didn't think any type of person could hurt me the way that he has, and that I would still be here in as much pain as the day I found out. Love, Laura. Thank you for sharing that with us. Again, I can't imagine how painful any of that would have been to relive, so I really do appreciate how hard it would have been. Thank you for sending that through. The line that got me the most is when he found out that you knew and he said, "I never meant for you to find out." I just think that is so weak and cowardly. Like you said, not I didn't mean to hurt you, not I'm sorry, I wish it hadn't ended this way, but that I just didn't want you to find out. That they could have easily lived both of these different lives without you having ever known. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I hope that at least since writing it down, it's helped you feel a little bit lighter and that you're feeling better now. Let's get on to letter 3. Letter 3 is titled What I Didn't See and has been sent in by Mims. Hi Jodie, I don't even know how to start this properly. I wasn't planning to write you. I watched one of your videos last night and something just cracked open. I haven't told this whole story before, little bits to different people, but never the full thing. I was with Jason for 10 years, married for 6. We met at work, not in a romantic way. I was training new hires and he was one of them. He made me laugh right away. Even though his jokes were dumb, he had this look in his eye that he was always about to say something cheeky. I liked it. I liked him. He asked me out 2 weeks later. We got nachos and talked for 4 hours. It was easy. That's the word I used most when people asked about us, easy. He made me feel like I didn't have to try so hard. I've been in one of those situationships before and I was just done. Jason showed up, he cooked, he texted back, he remembered my birthday, and it felt great. We got married in a small ceremony with homemade cupcakes and my cousin's Spotify playlist. It wasn't fancy, but it felt like us. I thought we were building something strong. We didn't have a lot of money, but we had fun. We had our little routines. He'd wake me up with coffee on Saturdays. We used to watch movies in bed with our feet tangled. I thought we were happy. The truth is, I didn't see it coming. I know people say that all the time, but I really didn't. There was no weird text, no long nights out. Nothing that would have made me suspicious. If anything, he got sweeter towards the end. He brought home flowers for no reason, told me I looked pretty when I was wearing sweats, rubbed my back when I was stressed. Then one night he said we needed to talk, and I swear I thought maybe he'd lost his job or something. I was already getting ready to comfort him. He sat me down and said, "I need to be honest about something. I've been seeing somebody else." I didn't move, I didn't even speak. It was like my brain stopped processing sound. He said it so calmly, like he was just telling me we were out of milk. I asked him how long. He said 8 months. 8 months. I couldn't breathe. I remember standing up and sitting back down again because the room felt like it was moving. I asked him who. He said it was someone from his gym. He met her in a group class and she was fun and made him feel alive. I was like, what the hell does that even mean? I'm not fun? Did we stop going out because I was too tired or because you wanted somebody new? He said it just happened, but 8 months isn't something that just happens. That's a whole relationship. That's weekends away and goodnight texts and inside jokes. And I was here cooking dinner for us and folding his goddamn laundry. I didn't scream. I didn't throw anything, but inside I was on fire. I was grieving something while he sat there looking sorry but also relieved, like he finally got it off his chest. He moved out a week later, packed his stuff while I was at work, left the keys on the counter with a note that said, "I'll always care about you." I didn't cry until about 3 days later. I was brushing my teeth and I opened the drawer and saw his razor and just dropped to the floor. I sobbed so hard my stomach hurt. The worst part, I still miss him. Even after all that, I miss him bringing me tea, I miss hearing his stupid laugh during the reality shows. I miss texting him dumb memes. I miss the life I thought we had. And that made me feel pathetic. Like, how can I miss somebody who betrayed me so quietly for so long? People kept saying you're better off, and I know they meant well, but I didn't want to be better off. I wanted my life back. Even if it was fake, even if he had already emotionally left the building, I still wanted it. The anger came later. Like, why didn't I get a say? Why didn't he tell me he was unhappy when maybe we could have done something? Why didn't he just decide it was over and keep smiling at me like nothing was wrong? I got a message from a mutual friend a few months later. She said he and the woman had broken up already. Apparently she wanted more and he wasn't ready. I nearly laughed out loud. He ruined everything and still ended up alone. Like, what did you even burn it down for? It's been over a year now. I still flinch when I hear his name. I still find receipts from restaurants I didn't go to, and some nights I still sleep on my side of the bed out of habit. I'm different now, not better, not worse, just different. I don't trust as quickly. I don't dismiss my gut anymore, and I don't let somebody tell me that being easy to love means tolerating less than I deserve. I didn't see it coming, but I did survive it, and that's the part I hang on to. Thanks for letting me say all of this, Mims. Thank you so much for writing that down for us, Mims. I know it couldn't have been easy. All of these letters remind me of something that I watched Matthew Hussey say once, and I'm paraphrasing, so I apologize, but it was something along the lines of, I will do my best to make a beautiful relationship, and in doing so, give you all of the space and the freedom that you need where you could end up betraying me. And all I can do is hope that you choose not to. And I think that that's so beautifully put, because then you know that people aren't betraying you because you're watching them like a hawk. They're choosing not to because they love you. On to our next letter, and it's titled "The Night I Lost Myself." And it's been sent in by Natalie. Hey Jodie, people know the basic story. He cheated, she left. But that isn't what happened. That's the sanitized version. The PG version I tell to friends and co-workers. The version you can say without your voice shaking. But the truth? The truth is that I lost my mind. I'm not proud of it, but I need to tell it. I found out on a Sunday. It was already a shit day. I had a headache, the washing machine broke, and he was being weird. Not distant, weird. Too affectionate, touching my back in the kitchen, smiling like he knew something I didn't. I remember thinking, what the hell are you doing? His phone was on the table. Normally he's paranoid about it, always on silent, face down, but this time he left it. I wasn't trying to snoop. I just wanted to check the weather for the week. I thought I was being efficient. And there it was, messages from someone named S, hundreds of them. I opened the thread and it felt like somebody grabbed me by the throat. There was photos, plans, her saying, "I miss your mouth." I don't remember standing up. I don't remember picking up the mug. But I remember the sound it made when it hit the wall. He came running in and saw the screen still lit up. He didn't even deny it. He just froze. I started screaming. Not crying, screaming. Like something was tearing out of me. I couldn't stop. I threw the phone, I threw my keys, I picked up the lamp and smashed it against the floor. I was an animal, wild. I wanted him to feel something. I wanted to destroy everything he had ever touched. He kept saying, "I'm sorry," but I couldn't hear it. My ears were ringing and my face was wet, but I don't even remember crying. My chest hurt like somebody was ripping it open from the inside. I pulled at my hair. I remember that clearly. Fistfuls of it. I think I wanted to feel something that wasn't betrayal. I think I wanted to bleed. I screamed so loud the neighbours knocked on the door. He didn't open it. I think he was scared. Good. He should have been. I was unrecognisable even to myself. And then suddenly it stopped. I went dead silent. He asked if I wanted to talk and I laughed. I laughed so hard I choked. I said, "You think we're going to talk now? You think I want to hear your reasons?" I told him to get out. He tried to explain, says he was lonely, said it wasn't about me, said it was just sex. And that's when I really lost it. I told him if it was just sex, he could have paid for it and spared me the humiliation. I told him he was pathetic. I told him I'd hope that she saw what a coward he really was when he cried during Toy Story. The night he left, I told him not to come back unless he wanted me to call the police. He slept in his car for 2 nights before his brother took him in. I didn't care. For weeks after, I didn't sleep properly. I would jerk awake at 3 a.m. and feel my entire body shake like it remembered everything before my mind did. I couldn't concentrate, I couldn't eat, I couldn't listen to music because lyrics made me want to scream. Everyone around me kept saying, "You're so strong." No, I wasn't strong, I was obliterated. I was rage in a human suit. I was crawling out of my own skin minute by minute. The thing people didn't talk about is how much betrayal warps your body. I bruised my palm punching the wall. My jaw ached for weeks from how hard I clenched it in my sleep. I lost hair. I bit my nails until they bled. I wanted to scream at strangers. I wanted to burn the whole house down. But I didn't. I let myself burn instead. And eventually it got quieter. Not gone, but quieter. I still get flashes of his voice, of her name, of the photos I can't unsee. But now I just let them come. I don't fight anymore. Because this is my life now. Not the one that I planned, but the one that I own. Thanks for listening, Natalie. Thank you so much for sharing that. It really jolted something in me when you were speaking about the pain, the screaming, and the pulling out your hair. Because you just wanted them to feel something. I know that feeling of your body just wanting to explode and you don't know how to get that rage out, the feeling out, and in some way just show them how much you love them by doing some pretty toxic things. So I hope that at least you're behind that now and feeling better off without him. There's another quote that says, "Don't worry about trusting that they won't betray you. Focus on trusting that if they do, you have enough strength to walk away." And I think that that is key in any sort of partnership that you go into, is just knowing that you can do your best to make it beautiful and just hope that if anything does go wrong, you have the strength to walk away and know that you did your best. So to everybody that shared their letters, really, I appreciate it so much. I hope that you're all doing better now. If these stories have resonated with anybody, please do leave a comment below. And if you do want to share your stories, there are instructions in the description below. So please do follow that. I would love to hear them. And I'll see you next time. Bye.